Hello, Mr. Hausler here. This video is in preparation for Chapter 8, Exponents and Functions. This one's going to be focusing on exponents, how to perform operations with exponents. So we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, parentheses. I'm going to show you the kind of shortcuts and what you're supposed to do with them. But if ever in doubt, like you can't remember the shortcut, if in doubt, expand it out. So I'm going to show you what I mean by expanding them out. So let's go through these now. Adding and subtracting. They must be like terms in order for you to do that. So if I'm looking here, I got a 3x squared plus a 5x squared. Both of them are x squareds. They are like terms. They have the same base, so I actually can combine those. So that is a 8x squared. Okay? But then if I were to go here, like pretend I was doing 3x squared minus a 5x cubed. An x squared and an x cubed are not like terms. So I cannot combine these together. The only thing I might be able to do is make sure the highest degree of 3 is written first. So negative 5x cubed, and then put plus 3x squared. That might be the only thing I could do with this one to rewrite it or simplify it. I can't combine them though. They're just not like terms, not allowed to do it. Now multiplication. If I were to multiply these, I don't have to worry about the bases being the same. I actually am just going to add the exponents. So in this particular case, I would get 4x squared times negative 7x to the 6. You really just take these coefficients, 4 times negative 7, negative 28. And then you have x squared times x to the 6, and you just add the exponents. So it turns into x to the 8th. Okay? So I told you I'm going to try to show you how to expand these out. This is all multiplication. So I'm going to expand this out. I'm going to change the order because you're allowed to with multiplication. It's commutative. So this actually is equivalent to 4 times negative 7 times x times x. That's my x squared. Now I'm going to do my x to the 6 times x times x times x times x times x times x to the 6. So the reason this turns into this result is I get a negative 28 here, and then I have x to the 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way out to 8. Okay? So if in doubt, expand it out to remind yourself that's why you're adding the exponents. If I were to go to this one, negative 2x cubed times negative x to the 5th, I'm actually going to make that a negative 1 right there. So that when I multiply my coefficients, I get a negative 2 times a negative 1, positive 2. And then all I have to do is add my exponents. Even though that's negative, the rules don't change. I still would add my exponents. So adding a negative 3 and a positive 5, adding those is almost like 5 minus 3. You get x to the 2nd. So that's multiplication. Now to division. Multiplication, we added the exponents. Divisions, we're going to subtract the exponents. So if I have this problem, x to the 4th divided by x to the 2nd, I'm just going to keep that x because it has the same base. X is the base. I'm going to keep that x and I'm just going to subtract the exponents. 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay? Again, I'm going to show you how to expand this out. Why does this happen when we expand it out? X times x times x times x. That's my numerator. That's x to the 4th. X squared is x squared, right? X times x. So the reason it turns into x squared is that equals 1, that equals 1. The only thing left over now is 1 times x times x. So 1 times x squared. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times x squared is x squared. I end up with that. This next one gets a little tricky. I'm going to use colors to help us. So I've got all this. It's still a division problem, but I can break this division problem up as separate math problems. So the coefficients, I can just divide them. The x's I can treat as a math problem. And then the y's can be a math problem. So 14 divided by 2. Hopefully you can see that. That's 7. 14 divided by 2 is a 7. Going to the x's, x squared, and that's actually x to the 1st. When there is no exponent, we assume it's to the 1st power. So x to the 2nd divided by x to the 1st. That's I'm just supposed to subtract the exponents. 2 minus 1 is 1. Now I'm going to go to the orange, the y's. Again, if there's no exponent, I assume it's to the first power. So that's y to the first divided by y to the second. Y to the first divided by y to the second. So I'd be doing 1 minus 2. 1 minus 2 is a negative 1. And that technically is my answer. You're going to find later on that we never want the answer to have a negative exponent, but for right now we're going to leave it. That's it, 7, and I can actually call it x instead of x to the first, y to the negative 1. Sorry, there was something, I got an alert. Okay, parentheses, multiply the exponents. So when there are parentheses involved, I sometimes say inside out must be multiplied. So this inside exponent will get multiplied by the outside exponent. So I'm actually going to take 2 and raise it to the third power. Okay, so that would be 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. I'm going to keep the x, and then I'm going to write 4 times 3, which is 12. So that's the answer there. Now again, if in doubt, expand it out. Why does this turn into 8 times x to the 12th? Because it's actually 2x to the 4th times 2x to the 4th times 2x to the 4th. It's multiplied by itself 3 times. If I take that and I change its order, because it's all multiplication, I can change the order and I can expand it out even more. It'd be 2 times 2 times 2. And then all those x to the 4th, x times x times x times x, that's an x to the 4th. X times x times x times x, another x to the 4th. X times x times x times x, another x to the 4th. Well, that ends up being 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. All these x's ends up being 12 x's. So, like I said, if in doubt, expand it out. If you can't remember the shortcuts, expand it out. I'm going to erase that just so we have space. You can always rewind the video if you need to. So again, coefficient needs to be raised to that power. So that needs to be 4 raised to the second power, which gets you 16. And then you just multiply when there's parentheses. Inside out, so 5 times 2. So I have x to the 10th. So again, there's my answers again. If in doubt, expand it out, see what happens.